Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about an aspect of the continuing hot water that not Trump, who's been plucked from it and set free by the Supreme Court immunity opinion, but his close associates who so far have also, by and large, escaped real accountability for their conduct, helping him try to steal the election from Biden. They're still in some trouble in a few places. Now, one of them was Georgia, where Fani Willis had charged 19 people, a couple even, and I'm sure they were kicking themselves, pleaded, did get very light sentences, Ken Chesbro, Jenna Ellis, but now the case has not gone away, mind you. It's really just up on whether Fani Willis should be recused. But my best guess is A, she'll be recused, and then B, they won't be able to put the pieces back together again. So a guy like Mark Meadows, who's kind of gambled all the way successfully, not cooperating with Congress, but didn't get indicted for contempt, testifying just a little bit in front of Jack Smith's grand jury, but not reaching a deal, but really looked like he didn't have a way out in Georgia, trying repeatedly to remove that case to federal court. Now I think he is, sitting pretty in Georgia along with everyone else. So what's left? Mainly the cases involving false electors that a few states have brought. And I just want to bring you up to date on Arizona, because it turns out that Arizona and Attorney General Chris Mays, who brought the same kind of case, part as in Georgia, but also in Michigan, and there are a couple others that are in real investigation. This is over the fraud and forgery and other kinds of crimes in trying to lie about who the electors were in 2020, trying to say these people are the real electors and they are for Donald Trump. And those were different kinds of crimes. In some states like Pennsylvania, they had the foresight or the integrity to hedge and say only if a court says we're permitted to do this, but in Arizona they didn't. Okay, so in Arizona now we learn that Chris Mays has a lot of documents from emails, texts, and phone records, probably the mother lode that they were able to get from Google and iCloud. And we're talking about the accounts of Mark Meadows, of Rudy Giuliani, of John Eastman, remember, the architect of the whole Pence plan to either delay or just deceive and say these are the real electors, the Trump guys. Boris Epshteyn, the kind of brooding presence and thrower around of his weight in the Trump circles. These are guys who've been charged in Arizona, and the evidence here, if there's solid evidence against them, is likely right in these accounts, and therefore in the current possession of the Arizona AG. Why do I put it that way? Because the AG hasn't yet seen it, and that's the second point to drive home. There's a court order now. Remember, there's all kinds of legal issues being fought in the courts about subpoenaing things like Google and iCloud, about whether Google and iCloud and Facebook have potential liability. Remember, Facebook had one about whether they can inform the subjects of the search. Basically, that's really being worked out in the courts right now. And as part and parcel of that, the Arizona court has said, hold on, AG, don't look at everything. Every defendant first has a chance to review it and screen out irrelevant information. So this is everything in there, and if it's their laundry bill or even a tryst or whatever, that's irrelevant. But relevancy is a really low standard in the federal criminal law. It's defined as a fact is relevant if it would tend to make anything at issue in the case, like did they know that the Arizona people were not real electors because Biden had won. Any fact that would tend to make any other fact more or less likely, just push, a little bit in one direction or another, a element of the case, that's relevant. So the court has said, okay, we'll stop the music enough for you to be able to call through it and ask me, the judge, maybe probably in camera, you won't show it to others, things that are, you can imagine, embarrassing or national security or really completely far afield or have to do with third persons and not the charges. But basically, that's fine, because what will be left is the real motherlode of things that could possibly make a fact in the false electors case more likely or less likely. Anything that you could use to construct your case. So if that process goes through undisturbed and they're actually able to look at and use as evidence against Eastman, Giuliani, all the president's men, then that I think is going to be a powerful case, and it's one that will exist, notwithstanding Trump being president and notwithstanding the immunity principle and everything else that applies to him. I mean, he'll try to pull out stops or maybe even make life hell for Chris Mays, the Arizona AG. But there's nothing in the law, and it would be such a huge expansion of the already hugely expansive rulings that the Supreme Court has made a presidential power to somehow get Meadows and Giuliani off the hook here. So it's going to be a real drama that will play out, and it's just now at the stage where they each get to look at material and say, this is irrelevant, this is not. There'll be some way for the Arizona AG to push back, but the main thing is this will leave them with no argument as to what you have to expect based on experience and how people, especially lawmakers, run their lives, that this stuff, these accounts really give the Arizona AG everything she needs to make this case. We'll see. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.